Hari Om. Welcome you all to the next session in the Python programming course. We are in the third module and we are currently talking about data visualization. So we had seen what is data visualization and what for we use data visualization. Then we also talked about some of the benefits of data visualization in any of the organization. Then we had seen Matplotlib module is one of the very important package which is used for data visualization, very popular package. So these kind of plots can be created using Matplotlib module. Then we had seen what is Matplotlib, which can be used for creating, customizing, and not only that, we can further add some third-party packages also to Matplotlib. Then we had seen what are the list of graphs and charts that can be created by Matplotlib, and just we browse through what are the different pyplot functions that are available. Then we had seen a demo program of this, in which I had shown you like how PyLab can be used directly, or you can also use pyplot from the Matplotlib as PLT, which is another name or alias name for the package that you are going to download. Then we had also seen how the formatting can be done for each and every plot. Then we had seen how pyplot can be used, so in which we had seen these are the different types of plots that can be created using pyplot. Then we had seen using the Jupyter notebook, we had seen like how we can plot several lines with different format styles. Then we are currently talking about how to do the linear plotting, how to do the bar plotting, and how do you do the scatter plotting. Then what do you mean by subplot, all these things. So in our previous session, we talked about the linear plotting, which can be done by using the plot function. Right? These are some of the parameters that can be used along with the plot function. Then we had seen an example of the power consumption data set of house 1 and house 2. And in each year, right, these are the list of years in which the units consumed by each house was plotted using linear plotting. So this was the program we had seen, and how it gets plotted, that was also discussed. Then we also talked about the bar function, which is used for creating bar charts, right? So the pyplot dot bar is the function which is used for creating the bar chart, which takes these parameters. Then we had seen an example of bar plot, like how we can create a bar plot for the number of students enrolled in different courses or in different programs of an institute. This was the program we had seen, and we had seen how this particular bar function will create a bar plot. Then we had also seen how multiple bar plots can be created, which is generally used for comparison, and for which we had taken this particular example of creating a bar plot that shows the number of students who have got A plus in each program in each year. So we want to compare like in which particular year, in which particular program the number of students have got, more number of students have got A plus. So this was the example, and this example used the subplots function, right? So these were the topics we covered in our previous session. Now we are going to talk about the other functions, like how do you create a scatter plot, how do you create pie chart, etc. So before that, you might have observed like I was using PyLab in some cases and I was using PyPlot in some cases, right? So both are giving you the same effect. The only thing is, if we are going to import the matplotlib as PyLab, the plotting functions from the submodules like PyPlot and a submodule like mlab will be available as local functions. This is the point to be noted here. If you are going to download PyLab, right? If you use PyLab, all the library functions that are available in the PyPlot and all the library functions that are available in mlab, not only that, all the functions that are available in NumPy will also be available as local function. I'll give you an example here. Let me open the Jupyter notebook. I am going to open the Jupyter notebook. Yes, I have opened a Jupyter notebook. Yeah, it is taking some time. Yes, it has opened a Jupyter notebook. Now I am going to, let me increase the size if you want. Yeah, fine. I am going to create a new Python 3 notebook for the evaluation. Okay. Now the two different things, you can either import matplotlib as PLT. This is one way of downloading it. Another one is you can download PyLab. You can download PyLab, then from there you can import everything. Here, if you are going to import, sorry, not matplotlib, dot pyplot. This is very important. Okay. So from matplotlib module, you are going to download the pyplot submodule and you name it as PLT. Whereas here, you are going to download PyLab. PyLab will come into your system and all the functions that are available in PyLab will be imported. Now the difference here is, suppose if you want to plot a list of information, like if here what you have to do, you have to give plot dot plot function and you have to give one, sorry, let me take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and as usual, if you want to give it in red color dots, you will be giving it this way. Okay, so let us just try running it. I am going to run it. So it is going to give you a plot like this, right? And if you want, you will be adding the show function also, right? PLT dot show. Okay, I am going to run it again. So you get it this way. Fine. So 5 values are plotted in the graph. Now the same you are going to do with PyLab. What happens here, I am not giving the PLT every time. Here every time the plot function is invoked using the name, right, using the module name. But if you are going to import using PyLab, I am going to use it as a local function. I am going to use it as a local function. I am using it as a local function, and let me say this time I go for LO and square, LO square. Okay, and I am going to simply say show. Let me run it now. Yes, this is the basic difference. So that is what it says. If I use PyLab, all the functions will be available as local function. And not only that, I am not importing NumPy also. But if you want to create an array, you can simply say A is equal to array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. And if you want to print the array, you can say print. Okay. So when I run it, you can observe, yeah, sorry, there is an error, built-in function or method object is not here what you have to give, there is an error you might have observed. I have forgotten to give the parenthesis here because it is a function. So let me now run it. Yeah, you get the array, right? So that was the error shown, and you can observe here I have not imported numpy. So usually if you want to create an array, if the same function I am going to use here, let us assume the same function I am using here in my program where I have not imported Pylab. Okay, let us try running it. Yeah, since I have already imported Pylab here, it is not showing you an error. But if you are going to do it in a separate thing where you have not downloaded the Pylab, it is going to show you an error. It says the array module or the array function is not available, right? So this is the basic difference. As you have the local functions, you can invoke all these functions, whereas here every time you have to give this plot etc. in your program, right? So this is the basic difference between Pylab and the PyPlot. So it is always, when you want to have the functions as local functions, go for importing Pylab, or if you want to have it as the PyPlot and always you want to use the module name, then you can go for importing PyPlot. So this point all of you must remember. Okay. Now what we are going to do, we are going to see how we can create multiple plots using the subplot command, right? We had already seen an example of this multiple plots using the multiple bar plots, right? So this is just a revision of how subplot command can be used for creating multiple plots. Now let us take this particular code. So this is a simple code where I am having this Pylab imported with all the modules, and I am going to create the first subplot using the subplot method. Then the second subplot will be created with the subplot method again, and then I am going to plot it. Then I say show, right? Now if you observe here in the subplot function, I am giving 3 arguments. What are these 3 arguments? The arguments to the subplot function are, the first argument will say how many number of rows are there, second argument will be how many number of columns, and the third argument gives you the figure number, right? Because we are going to have more than one subplots, right? More than one subplot. So this will be your plotting area. This is your plotting area. In a single plotting area, I am going to have 2 different plots. Okay, this is plot 1 and this is plot 2. So how many number of rows and how many number of columns you want in the plotting area must be specified in the subplot, and the third argument will specify what is the figure number. So this figure number will be always ranging from 1. Remember, it ranges from 1 and not from 0. Ranges from 1 to number of rows into number of columns. So if I say 2 comma 1, how many plots I can create? 2 into 1. So that means only 2 plots can be created in a single plotting area. The first one will be numbered as 1. The second one will be numbered as 2. Right? So 1 to 2. Suppose if you are going to have it as 2 comma 2, then 4 subplots can be created. So the figure number will be ranging from 1 to 4. That is how it will be calculated. Okay. Now let me just copy this code. Okay. I am going to copy this code and let us go to our Jupyter notebook, and in a new cell I am pasting it. Okay, I am going to create 2 subplots here. So let us just run it. Since I have already imported, I need not give it again here, but it to be on the safer side, let us give this import also. I am going to run it. So when I run, I get this particular thing. So this is the plotting area. Now this plotting area is divided into two rows, right? So first one for the first subplot, second one for the second subplot, and only one column, two values are there, right? Suppose, say for example, if I am going to give it as 2 comma 2, I give it as 2 comma 2, I run it, you can see it is divided into two rows and two columns. So the first plot comes here, the second plot comes here. Suppose if I give the values like 11, 22, 33, 44, and I am going to give it in red circles. Okay, so if I run it, it comes like this. So this is the first plot and this is the second plot. So since I have divided it into 2 comma 2, maximum I can have 4 plots, right? So let me go for another subplot. I give the third plot. Let me have it in green color triangle. Okay, I am going to run it. Oh, sorry. This plot is actually overwritten, right? You can observe this plot is actually overwritten because I have not given the subplot function. So let me say I am going for the third subplot. Going for the third subplot, I give it the number as 3. I am going to run it now. You can observe I am getting 3 subplots. Okay. So when I say 2 comma 2, it will be creating 2 rows and 2 columns. So the first subplot comes here, second subplot comes here, third one comes here. And if you want to have the fourth one, again you can give it this way. Fourth subplot. Okay, so let me go for the plot function. Here I am going to give some 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, I am going to run it and you can have 4 different plots, right? Suppose if I am going to change this, I am going to have it as 1 comma 4. So one row with 4 columns. 1 comma 4. I change it to 1 comma 4 and I am going to run it, and you can see 1 row and 4 columns have been created. So you can further explore, like changing all these parameter values. You can check how these subplotting is being done. Okay, so this is the purpose of having subplot command, which helps in creating multiple plots. Okay, so this is another example, and this is another interesting example where you can see I am going to copy this. I am going to copy the code, and you can observe here you are having the different markers here. You want to have cross symbol, circle, triangle, plus symbol, this direction triangle or square. Then I have another list with different colors also, and I am having number of rows as 2 and number of columns as 3. So 2 rows with 3 columns, the plotting will be done. And I am creating the subplots each and every time with 2 different for loops which are nested, and I am going to use the marker as this values of this particular list and color from this particular list, right? So if you just go through this particular program segment, you can understand like I am creating a random set of values, and for these random set of values I am plotting again and again by incrementing the values, by incrementing the figure number, right? So the third parameter is always used for the figure number, and the first two parameters of subplot function will be number of rows and number of columns, right? If I run this particular code, you can see 2 rows and 3 columns of values have been created, right? So first time I have given the marker as figure value mod 5. So figure value is 0. So 0 mod 5 will be mark of 0, which will be this particular symbol. So this symbol I am having, and initially it is multiplied with 0, right? So the random value is going to be 0. So what happens? It is always being in the same line, right? And here it goes with another random set of values, but this time the marker value is going to be the circle, and I'm going to have the color as blue for the second one. For the first one it is going to be red, right? Like that also you can create lots of subplots using the subplot command, right? So using the subplot command, it becomes very easy for you to create multiple plots in a single plotting area. Now another plotting function is called as polar plotting. So whenever you want to have polar plotting with the angle and radius, then you can go for the polar function, right? So you want to plot something with the angle and radius, right? So angle is the theta value. You want to give the theta value and the radius, then you can go for the polar plotting function. So here this example shows like how you can plot a circle using polar, because in circle in the same radius right from 0 to 360 you will be plotting the dots, right? So that is how we draw a circle, right? The radius will be the same radius starting from 0 to 360, right? In your this is the program code. You can observe here I have the theta value, which is ranging from 0 to 2 pi with 100 as the interval. Then I am going to have a radius of 5. Then I am going to invoke the polar function, which will be creating this particular code segment, right? So if you want, I can copy this code. I'm going to run this code. You can observe it creates the circle, right? Right from 0 it goes to 360 degrees, right? So 2 pi r is the perimeter. So based on that, it is going to take the values this way, right? So it continuously is plotting the data. So this is the advantage of using the polar plotting function. Then you have pie chart, very interesting pie chart, because always we need to have pie charts whenever you want to show some kind of values, different items and different names you want to give, then you will be using the pie chart. So let us see an example of pie chart. So this is a very simple example of a pie chart created. I want to show the pass percentage of each program of an institution. Let us assume these are the programs that are available, and these are the pass percentage of each program. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 programs, and 5 values in a list is given into the percentage, right? So I am going to always, the fractions is the one you will be giving for the pie chart. So what happens here in the pie function, you give the fractions or the percentage here, then the labels, right? Obviously in the pie chart you have to give labels for each arc, right? For each arc you want, or for each division you want to give a name, and this name can also be given this way, and you just give the show function, right? So this is as simple as that, and you can observe only two arguments I am passing. The first argument shows the fractions of the pie chart, the percentage, right? Percentage, or you call it as fractions of different items, and the names are given as the second argument. So names are given as the second argument into the parameter called as labels. So if you give just this particular function, it will create a pie chart for you, right? Then let us talk about more on plotting like histograms and scatter plots in the next session. Thank you.